Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
Well, let's see if we can lure the Papuan Taipan out for feed. She really doesn't react well when I disturb her little hut there. So I'm gonna try not to do that. I may have to. Oh, here she comes. Boom! There you go, girlie. How you doing? How you doing? Are you doing well, huh? No, I don't want to get you all upset and stuff. My friend David Williams, who's been bitten by this species and has treated thousands of Papuan Taipan bites, he tells me essentially out of 1,000 bites he's treated by this snake, only one was a dry bite. So for all intents and purposes, Papuan Taipans do not dry bite. Are you okay, sweetheart? You're okay. You know, if you remember correctly, this was my problem feeder, and it was real tough to get her going. But now that I found that she really likes rat pinks, it's really not much of an issue. Matter of fact, this is the most she has come out, and I've seen of her, you know, feeding. And look, she's that shy. She's just gonna try to hide as much of her body as she can. Go ahead, eat. No one's gonna bother you. No one's gonna bother you. You don't have anti-venom in stock, but the Commonwealth anti-venom that I have, that's made in Australia against the Australian coastal taipan and inland taipan, and it's not 100% effective because of the, you know, these species separated millions of years ago, and like other snakes have evolved different venom compositions to do different things. Sorry for the angle, folks, but that's the way we have to roll here, especially when dealing with shy snakes like this. I don't want to go get much closer, so I zoomed in a little bit. But at any rate, you know, the Australian, you know, taipans as a group, as well as some of the other Australian elapids, give you what I call the triple whammy. As far as neurotoxins go, they have both pre- and post-synaptic neurotoxins, you know, which basically fry your neurons in your respiratory pathways and block, you know, transmissions for respiration and heart and everything else. Meanwhile, while this is going on, they have a hemotoxic component, especially these Papuan taipans, and this is why they're making a specific antivenom for Papuan taipans, is they've got a hemolytic and hemorrhagic type of venom. What the venom does first is it creates a massive clotting cascade in the victim's get this focused again, in the victim's, you know, circulatory system. And then if you don't throw a clot to like your brain or your heart or your intestines and lungs, and you survive that, what happens is the clotting cascade reverses because of the hemolytic portions in the venom, and you've used up all your clotting factors, making this the first clotting cascade. It uses up all your clotting factors, clumps your platelets and everything else, and then it reverses, and then you start bleeding out of every orifice and pore in your body, including, you know, some brain. You can bleed into your brain, and that's usually what kills you. And if you survive all that, they've got myotoxins in their venom, and the myotoxins break down muscle, and the myoglobin that comes from the muscles breaking down clogs your kidney's filtration system, because, you know, it's a fairly big molecule. It's not used to dealing with that sort of stuff. And what happens is then you go into renal failure, and, you know, if you go into renal failure, you're going to die also. So that's why I say the taipans give you, and a lot of other Australian snakes, like for instance the tiger snakes, they give you the triple whammy, and you're in serious trouble when you get that sort of a bite. Well, at any rate, the Commonwealth antivenom neutralizes the myotoxins and the neurotoxins pretty well. And I'm going to stand up here. Easy girl, easy girl. Look, I got something else for you. Look. When you're ready, there's another one for you, because I think you can handle it now. I don't want to scare you. I know you're looking at the camera, looking at you. Well, I got my fingers stuck, so I'm going to pull the camera out for a split second and go wide again. Sorry, folks. But the specific antivenom that David and the University of Costa Rica is putting together is specifically for this snake. Come on. There you go. There you go. And this is their specific, monospecific antivenom. Will work quite effectively against the venoms of the taipans that are in Papua New Guinea and Irian Jaya. You know, whereas the Commonwealth antivenoms from Australia doesn't neutralize the hemorrhagic and hemolytic factors that this snake possesses in its venom glands. Oops, a little bit too quick there, Al. Oop, we're going to take it to the back because we're very frightened of viperkeeper, because viperkeeper has, you know, if you remember, when the snake was first born, I was force feeding it a couple of times a week via tube because it wouldn't eat on its own, and then just for the hell of it, you know, I threw in a rat pink and it ate it all on its own, and we've been doing really well since. Except, you know, she or he is really high strung, very shy, and you don't hear me say this very often, but actually aggressive. He or she will actively defend herself against me. That's why I'm being very cautious, because This is a no-joke snake. And it might take more vials of anti-venom than I have to counteract its bite, because the anti-venom is for typically Australian snakes, although there is, you know, some paraspecificity for the Papuan snakes, but I'd rather not do that. So, you know, we're just going to be really careful with this little critter. That's why you don't often see her in action, because unless I'm feeding or unless I'm changing the substrate, I leave this little critter alone. Lori leaves it alone, which is you know, suits her fine. This is a very dangerous, scary little snake, and with good reason. It's got it's exceptionally quick and exceptionally toxic, and you'd be in deep doo-doo if you were bitten by it. And like David said, these guys don't mess around. These guys go for keeps. Another brilliant David Williams saying is, Taipans don't start fights, they finish them. And that's absolutely factual. It's one of those you know, things that is absolutely rings true. You know, unfortunately, all the people of Papua New Guinea, you know, can't afford shoes and stuff or boots when they're walking through the tall grass where these guys are found, and a lot of times they're you know, bitten on the feet and ankles. And you know, if it wasn't for David, and I know John Rathbone from Australia, he's another paramedic who treats snake bites with David at the Port Moresby Hospital. You know, they've got a specially equipped ambulance to go out into remote areas in Papua New Guinea and pick up snakebite victims and start the treatment while they're on the way back to the hospital. And you know, there's the roads and infrastructure are almost non-existent there. There's no refrigeration in the remote villages and medical centers, so this antivenom that they're creating, that's in clinical trials right now and is working very well, you know, is a lifilized serum. It's not liquid. This way it can be stored at room temperature and reconstituted when it's ready to be used. Now, I am going to zoom back out and close her door, and this concludes our feeding visit with the Papuan Taipan. Hey everybody, a little cage shifting today. We don't shape shift here, we cage shift. This young male Wetar Island pit viper, it's time for him to have a little bit bigger cage, and he's going to go over next to the female Wetar Island pit viper. It's actually not his sister, but well, sort of is a sister, but from a different litter. So mom and dad were the same, so they're genetically related, so I doubt I will breed them against one another. There seems to be a lot of Wetars available, and you know, I'll work a trade with somebody and get a female for him and a different male for the other one. That's if I decide to do that, because I've learned after having many baby Wetars, Wetar Island pit vipers born in my facility, the babies are a pain in the ass to get started feeding, sort of like their cousins, the perps. So I don't know if I want to do that or not. But at any rate, he's going to a different set of quarters. He's probably very hungry, but he might miss out on food today. I mean, look at the nice package on him. That's why, you know, you can tell the difference between the males. Right at the anal scale, you can see how still it's pretty fat after the anal scoot, and you know, pretty chunky down below. The female is a totally different shape, and I might actually pull her out of the cage briefly to show you the difference. Now, we always like to take some furniture. You're not thinking about coming up the hook, are you?
Maybe.
We always like to bring a piece of their furniture with them, right? Huh? Yeah, you don't have enough coil to really do a very good strike from there, do you, huh? So you're going to come up the hook and be a pain in the ass, aren't you? Come on, you're okay. You know, like I said, these snakes, once you put them in their homes and stuff, they really become attached to it, and you know, it's a little bit traumatic for them to get relocated. So you always try to put a bit of something they're used to in there. And I'll put some water in there in a few minutes. And let him sort of calm down. Now let me pick up the female so we can sort of see the difference. How are you? Are you in the mood to show me your cloaca? That's what I say to all the girls. Come on. I know I'm bothering you. I know I'm bothering you. Come on.
Look how big she is.
Come on, big girl. Okay, see, alright, well, don't wag your tail. Hello. Hello. Uh-oh. Viperkeeper's in trouble. See how quickly that drops off to nothing? That's how you tell the difference between male and female. Okay? Here, I'm sorry I disturbed you. I just wanted to look up your skirt, so to speak. And the females don't have more of a rust-colored stripe down their tail like the males do, but I think that's a variable feature, whereas the size of the part of the tail and length after the anal scoot is the difference. Look at her, she's embarrassed now. You showed my tuchus on national TV. She's probably looking for something to eat. He's a little aggro right now. It's like, what the hell am I doing here? What did I do to deserve this? But, you know, I just thought I'd keep, he was ready for a new cage. You know, these are not arboreals. My good friend Mark O'Shea has only found them on the ground. I think, you know, they'll hunt sometimes from low-hanging bushes, but the vast majority of the hunting is, you know, they're very close to the ground. And here, I can open this, but expect him to be a little snappy. Hi. What are you doing? Now again, I'm using this new crushed paper substrate because it was recommended. I think it's, you know, the problem is that it, you know, it could be a little bit dry for them, so we'll have to keep our eyes on it and moisten it and stuff. But simply because it's paper, it'll hold moisture and release it and stuff. And you know, this guy has a pretty good setup now. Okay, there's nothing to climb on, but I can fix that. He's got his old little house in the back there that I'm sure his tongue will find at some point or another. You know, the cage has been cleaned and disinfected. You know, and he'll get used to it. And you know, this substrate is a lot better than the wood mulch and stuff. So let's let him settle in, because now we really are going to have fun soon, because the pygmy mulga, Sandy, as you know her, the the creature from underneath the sand, she's going to a bigger cage, and that will be very exciting, no doubt. I've already pulled the furniture out of the sandworm's cage, and I'm going to move her over there next to Mr. Brown. Now, I've learned from past experience with keeping pygmy mulgas is that they don't ever hook. And it's one thing, you know, hooking and tailing Mr. Brown, you know, when you got, you know, 3 feet or so from the pointy end to your hand, but when you've got just maybe 2 feet, it's not a good idea to just tail them. So therefore, my first, what I'd really like to do is just put on 2 gloves and just you know, just go in and grab her, because her fangs are short enough that they're not going to make it through this. This is one of the cases where gloves can be useful, because this particular elapid has rather short fangs, fortunately. I wouldn't do it with any of the mambas, but I can do it with a fair amount of confidence with the pygmy mulga. I certainly wouldn't do it with a gaboon, although people claim that, you know, it's just not going to make it through. So, you know what I'll... And it's your typical pygmy mulga posture. It's like, oh, what are you doing? What do you want? Come on. Yeah, it's the wet noodle. You know, if she gets out, you know, it's going to be snake hockey extraordinaire. You know, so I'm just going to go the 2 glove trick. Easy, 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 easy. Yeah, I know. Bite.
Oh, trying to bite.
Yeah, well, of course, something's got her. Here. There you go. There you go. You got your furniture in there. You know, it's just absolutely natural to bite. You know, if some... Look at the scale difference between me and her. If something is... If you take, you know, if a T-Rex comes along and tries to grab you, you're going to try to bite it and defend yourself. So, you know, I never fault the snake. It's very frightened, and, you know, it's going to do what it needs to do to protect itself.
Where'd she go? She disappeared.
Well, see, the nice thing is, I know this cage is absolutely secure. It's not like the other cage. Well, you know, maybe she can get into the light, maybe she can't. But this substrate is just perfect for her because she's a sandworm and she can tunnel. But, you know, I put her furniture in there, in her little log, even though she can't fit under it anymore. So she went immediately back into there and is tunneling. So,
hiding.
Yeah, we're just going to let her, oops, sorry. We're just going to let her sort of simmer down. I already fed her for this week. So she's perfectly okay, and she can hang out and relax, and she'll recover in a couple of days.
We'll see her again, but until then, it's bye-bye.
Off into the sunset.
Yep.
Dive, dive, dive.
And then we've got this big guy, who is utterly fearless, and hey.
Generally a good-natured fellow, you know. He just wants his chicks and eats them too, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What more could you want? And then, alright, so this is a cage that I can pull down and clean when I'm sitting.
There you are. Hi. Hi, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, if you open
Will
it,
Sandy get that large?
yeah. Perhaps even bigger. You know, I don't know if there's any real, you know, any huge difference between the sexes and stuff, but it's certainly possible.